Erev Shabbos. It is, I think, a question to think about. The Mishpatim, and these are the laws. It's a funny law. It's a funny lotion. They don't find that these are this is that. They tell you. You want to tell you if it would have said Kisik Nevet Ivri, fine, they start writing with the law. There's no kashi. Why the Eila Mishpat Shatosim Lefnen should put in front of them? I think that's really to tell you that the Kabbalah Sateiret did not end. It makes sense in the Seder of the Parsha too. In other words, why at the end of Mishpatim do we have a continuation of Kabbalah Sateiret? The Kabbalah Sateiret took place in Parshas Yisrael. What's it got to do with Kabbalah with Mishpatim? Elavos, I think what happened was, Benishim tells Yisrael, I want you to tell Klal Yisrael 7 words. What do you call it? The Yisim, what it's the Loshen Dochten, the Yishmir Mamlechas Kehane V'Goy Kodesh, and that's the Yikir. V'atem Tishmei Tishmei V'Yisim V'atem Tiyulim Mamlechas Kehane V'Goy Kodesh Eila Advarim Shetedaber B'nei Yisrael Zot Rashi Leipoches V'Leyoisa. Now it's 7 words, that's all you say to him. You want to be a Mamlechas Kehane Kodesh. Now, if I tell people that this is what you're going to be the special Mamlecha of God and all that stuff. So immediately, everyone's going to say, sure, why not? I love it, why not? Okay, so we tell you, it's very nice, you all signed up, you all want to be it, but now I'm going to tell you what the price is. Now you got to keep these laws. Oh, now we're thinking this. So this is the pshat. I want you, after you told him this, and they said, hey, whatever God says we will do, right? You said it, whatever it is. So then, now tell them, okay, these are the words I'm saying. Do you guys agree to it or not? Okay. So I think I can answer now. Good to Kashi, the Rashiva once asked, in a simple Kashi, why is the first mitzvah, this is the first mitzvah after Matan Torah, even really, it's not really true, because it does talk about the Mizbeach, and the thing at the end of the Parsha, which is the first mitzvah, but that's no Kashi, that could be, that's a continuation of Kabbalah Sateiret. You want to dedicate yourself to the Rabbeinu Shalom, so it tells you shouldn't make it with dakas. In other words, you have to understand that the difference between good and bad, right and wrong, is so narrow that you have to be there. That's what the point. So therefore, even though a knife is a very important thing, of a lamaisa, you don't use it because it could kill. So that itself makes it possible. It's important. Without a good sharp knife and covered Shabbos, you have to have a good sharp knife. And sharpening knife is one of the mitzvahs of Erev Shabbos. So if that's the case, so you want me to have a sharp knife. So why do you tell me you can't kill anybody with Erev us? I want you to have a sharp knife and I don't want you to kill anybody. I mean, obviously one thing has nothing to do with the other. I want you to go up, but not be mindless. I want you to go up gradually so you don't goof off. You don't have a problem. You don't show your elva. You don't show your bizoyin on it. Okay, so I'm saying. So the Beishim is making that you should do this, and you have to know what's the right way in the middle somewhere. So it's very darkistic. So maybe that's part of Kabbalah Sateiret. But this is the first mitzvah, I guess, afterwards. And what is the mitzvah? The mitzvah is Kisik Nevet Ivri. When do you buy Nevet Ivri? She says only when you steal. The only one that's the Mechir Bezdin is only for stealing. Like there's a Mechir Atzma you can do, but you can't do Mechir Bezdin. And here we're talking about the laws of Mechir Bezdin. Because you're talking about that he's Mutter Shifri Kananis and so forth, so it's only Mechir Bezdin. So the Kashi is, the Klal Yisrael is at such a high madrega at this time, why would I talk about such a Poshet Avera that everybody understands that stealing is a bad Avera? So we said that maybe that we see in this generation, people don't understand that stealing is a Poshet Avera. As far as they're concerned, it's a good way of living. I mean, there's no raya. Okay, that nikud I don't know what to say. But Lamaisa, I think that the teretz is so the Rashiva answers is that the person has to realize that if he steals, he's a kaifer, and really the Torah doesn't have any shaykhs to him. That would be a simple thing. I wanted to add on that, maybe a point, and just slipped my mind just now what I wanted to say. I'm sorry. Yeah, the commitment of saying whatever God says I will do, you have to first accept the fact that God has full control. If you don't have that concept that God has full control, then why should you accept whatever God says? I mean, it affects myself, affects my money, affects my everything. In other words, I got to give tzedakah, I got to pay for mitzvahs, I got to take Shabbos off, I got to take Yontif off. You're putting a lot of financial stress on me without any compensation, without anything, with a promised out Olam Haba, whatever you're going to give me there, stuff like that. It's a money because if you don't believe that. Now, if I don't believe I control everything, so you can't say I will do whatever the Rebbeinu Shem wants. You won't make such a commitment. So the idea is, if you believe you can steal, what does stealing do? Stealing takes off with it's the only avera that's called Mo'al Bashem, and that's used twice in the Torah. It's used in Parshas Vayikra, and in Parshas and in Nosai. In Parshas Vayikra, it's talking about the Ashamis. So when it talks about the actual Asham Ne'ilah, which means someone that would use something of Hegdish. So the Lashon is like this: Nefesh kisimo mal v'chota b'shgoga mikotche Hashem. Now he was moral in what was God's, and he in the thing behaviors Hashem. He thinks it's Hashem. Doesn't say he was moral b'Hashem. He was moral. So moral means he used Hegdish for the wrong things. When it comes to Hashem and Gezel, so the Lashon is like this. Nefesh kisechto amor mal b'Hashem. You are moral b'Hashem. In the thing there, v'chichish ba'mitzah, v'fikodin, and everything. Now, when you stole, that you said you were moral b'Hashem. What I told moral b'Hashem, what I touched God, meaning you're saying God can't do, or I can take what God don't want to give me. One of the two things. Either I can't get it unless I steal, so that means God can't give it to me, or pshat is that God doesn't want to give it to me, but I'm going to take it anyway. And that's either way. You're saying you're stronger than Hashem in something. That can't be. Okay, so therefore, if you do that, then obviously your Kabbalah's Torah is worthless. It's not a Kabbalah. You're not listening to the Torah. And this really goes for any type of mechanism, fooling, trying to fool. In other words, when you're not doing an honest thing, sometimes I've seen these things often, the letters back from one lawyer to the other lawyer. One leaves out, it's a five-page contract, and he leaves out one line. And the other guy puts in another line somewhere, right there, over there. And each one is different, manipulating the other one, that maybe he won't see this, and therefore, because if we both realize what you're telling me, so then obviously I agree or I don't agree. I mean, well, you're not fooling me. This is the contract I want. This is it. So that's what you're talking about. So why do you have to sneak it out? Why? I'll give you my version, I'll give you your version. I mean, back and forth. It's not talking exactly. You're making it up. So what are you doing? Try to sneak it in. And maybe you won't see it. They got those little words on the bottom of the contract, you know. The thing that no one's going to read that anyway, so it doesn't make a difference if you don't hear big words. So we all know what's the point of it. It's to fool you. So the fool you is Nikiyichus. What are you fooling me for? You're not taking anything. You can't take anything that God don't want to give you. So what are you going to fool me? You're not going to fool me with anything. And that is the part that people don't understand. That is the biggest concept of God, is that He's the giver, and I'm not taking anything. And God's giving you things that He don't need you, and He doesn't, and He's just giving you a chance to be kind of lamcha. That if you use what He gives you for what He wants to be done, so then that's the way it'll be done, and you get full schal, like it says in Pirkei Avos, that the guys are isik b'tzorchei tzibur b'amunah. So what they should do, they should what the schus hava'isom, meaning of the tzibur, is what gives you the schus that you're able to accomplish it. And I'll give you schar for doing it. The second mission, the second parak, and that's I'm giving you the full schar. And I tell you that's when if you're successful, and if you're not successful, it's a zelbazach, because the guy is who wants to do a mitzvah is nanas, he gets a full schar for it. So obviously, if I put in my money here and I wanted to accomplish something, and for whatever reason it didn't take off, so that's not my fault. So that the man I get full schar for that. So why shouldn't I do it? So either way, win or lose, you should do it. That's the first thing, and that's what he goes weiter and then. Okay, and he tells you even weiter than that. Right away, he brings you up in Balna. So what will happen? The old Leibonim, but Bana Ishvil He's not talking, he made him a shidduch. It's talking about he wants him as a machine. He wants him to produce babies for him. That's what he's giving him a case for. So in other words, you went down in Kedusha. In other words, you're a ganef. What do I do with a ganef? A ganef is so bad that you're not a Jew anymore. What do you mean a Jew? I'm still Jewish. What are you talking about? No, you're not. A Jew gets a lav if he lives with a shifra kananis. And you're going to have to do that. So the thing, you're not going to be a Jew. I'm not a Jew. I'm a potter for mitzvahs. No, you're going to have to keep the. But this thing, this kedusha that you have, that pshat is that I'm not la'yir kadesha. I'm not allowed to live with a shifra kananis. And the thing that you lost because you're not the same kind of Jew as you were or you should be, and therefore that's the idea. So the Torah wants to belittle them in that sense. And they find that the Kashi, that's the case, what's the raya? Maybe it's want to give the guy a good time because if he comes without a wife, the din is if he's not married, he's also to take a shifra kananis. So what difference does that make? With the point that he lost his kedusha somehow, so we still want to matter him that you're a nobody. You can marry shifra kananis. No, because they were afraid he's going to want to stay with the shifra kananis because he's going to have to have keros of the shifra kananis. He's going to like those things, and that's what he's going to get used to. So therefore, that's a dangerous thing. On the other hand, he has a wife. He knows what a tznua is, and he knows what do you call it? Someone that has got the way the opposite of tznuya. The thing that brazenness that it is. So he'll know that I'm not interested in that. It's not somehow. This is not what this was all about, and something like that. Okay, so we're chayshid that that maybe we go up, but the guy who understands and sees it and knows what a Yiddish wife is, he's not going to want a shiksa. So that's why he didn't. By him, it's mutter. Okay. We'll talk about so anyway. So let's already finish with the Kabbalah Satara part. So they answered what he called the Kol Shadiba Hashem Nase. After he goes through Gans Mishpatim, so then the Vensham has, okay, what do they say now? Okay, Vel Moshe Omar Lei V'nigash Moshe Val Hashem V'yov Moshe V'yisav L'om is called Diva Hashem, is called Mishpatim, and he told them all these Mishpatim. V'yan Kol Om Kol Echad V'yem Kol Hadvorim Asher Diba Hashem Nase. All the words that God said we will do, right? Which is different than what they said in Parshas Yisro, Kol Asher Diba Hashem Nase. Whatever he says we will do. Now he says Kol Hadvorim Asher Diba Hashem Nase. All of a sudden, it's not that they bring karbonis because they're nice guys. They were just even a big avere. And they just Vayev Moshe Veisapalo Vayichtav Moshe is called the Ram Vayashkim Babayke Vayivim Mizbeach Tachasahor Shtei Mesamat Sevish Shtei Moshe Yisrael Vayishnaz Yisrael Vayal Oilos Vayizbuch Zvochim Shalom Al Hashem Porim Vayikach Moshe Chatzei Adam Vayosem Bagones Chatzei Adam Soch Galam Mizbeach Vayikach Sefer Abris, and again, and he read it over to them again, and they all said Kol Hashediba Hashem Nase V'Nishma. Okay. This is the great thing that we hold by, that we said Nase v'nishma, not just called Shadiba Shem Nase. So Shiva asks, what's the mile of Nase v'nishma? So you would say, well, normally I want to see what I want to understand, what I'm going to do, and so I want to learn it first, and then I'll do it. No, and we're willing to go do it first, and then we'll learn about it. That's the way we normally learn Pshat of Nase Nishma. She said, if that's the case, Kol Hashediba Hashem Nase is a big madrega, that I'm not even interested in listening to a reason later. I'm just, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. So what difference is it? That's a big madrega. So therefore, the Shiva teaches up Kol Hashediba Hashem Nase v'nishma means I will do, and I will listen to my teachers how they will tell me how to do, and not my own opinion. Okay, so let's understand what took place in the Kabbalah Satira. Originally, they accept 600,000 people or millions of people, because the women also have to accept the Torah, and all the kids under 20 are also accepting the Torah, and they're all saying, we're saying together. Well, why do you need together yachtov? What do we need together for? Because each guy is going to understand the Torah differently, right? We all have a different brain capacity. We all have a different understanding, a way of understanding. The Yisayim are not the same, so we all think differently, and therefore, since we all think differently, we are going to do differently. So we're going to have 600,000 Torahs in the world. That's the thing, Dalton. But since our kavanah was the right one, so then it lists. It has nothing to do with anything. So therefore, that's also Kabbalah Satira in the thing over there. When they gave him the mitzvahs, though, after that, and they looked at it, and they all came up and they said, with a different thing, they divided it now. All the things that he said, that means if you're not just taking it carte blanche, whatever he tells me, I'm telling you whatever, I'm going to weigh it first. That means, so it's like we're going, I can't say going, what you have usually by Reform people or Freie people, I'll use the Lashon, whatever I understand, I do. What I don't understand, I don't do. So then it's not God's Torah, it's your Torah. Because you agreed, therefore it's it's good. If you don't agree, it's no good. So then that's stupid. I mean, I'm not trying to teach you what's a better thing than you are. So I have to teach you God's tales. I want you to then. So therefore, that's not even a Kabbalah, it's Gomet. That's why you have to have the Kabbalas and stuff. They realized what they did wrong. So now they were accepting even an interpretation of the Rebbe without their own opinion. That's the thing that we call Nasiv and Ishma. So if it's good, why Nasiv and Ishma became an important thing more than before. In other words, of course, before I'm taking what I understand. No, I'm understanding what my Rebbe understands. No negias on my part involved at all, and stuff like that. And that is Taka, the final Kabbalah Satira that we have. Okay. And going back to here to the Ivri, yeah. The Ian of Shifra Krak, I don't leave that out. Makish for Meis Moisumas, it says, and then Vashaloi Tzodav, Kinin Leyodoi, these are two psukim, and they're their own parsha. That means the samach before, Gemakish, and there's samach after the second pasuk, Vashaloi Tzido. That's it. So what is the comparison between the two? So you're talking about a Harig B'Mezid, that's Chayiv Misa, and a Chayrik B'Shegig, that's Chayiv Golus. So it tells you so that if you have a guy that's Chayiv Misa, and they didn't kill him, they didn't have Adis, let's say, and the guy is Chayiv Golus, and again, they didn't have Adis for him either, so he's not going to Golus. So what happens, the Beishah wants him to go to Golus, and then the thing there, so he makes it that he will fall on top of the guy and kill the guy that's the Harig Nefesh, B'Mezid. So he's getting his Misa, and then he's going to go to Golus because of it. So the question becomes, why didn't he go to Golus the first time? The Beishah could have made it just as easily that two Edom saw him, and then they would have gone to Golus. I mean, why is he making it the first time you putter? So we had this discussion last night. So in America, you have expressions of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter. What are the differences in them? So my first-degree murder is I have a premeditated, it's premeditated. I'm coming in to kill the guy b'kavanah. That's first-degree murder. Second one is I'm committing a crime or some other thing, and in the middle of the crime, to defend myself or something else, I commit murder. So that's the second-degree murder. And my manslaughter is you're battling with the guy and you kill him by accident, and then the thing there, but machteres like, okay. So you give me different levels, right? Only one is chayiv, the death penalty. Murder one. Okay. By us, it's not that way. You chayiv the death penalty for not caring if you kill somebody. Now it's carelessness. We'll explain this in a minute. It doesn't say Harig b'Oinis. It was an accident. It says Harig b'Shoigig. I killed with the thing that I didn't know the law is that I'm chayiv for it. What is the din of a goy? That's Harig b'Shoigig. He's chayiv misa. So let's take the case that the Gemara says that the Torah talks about. A guy is chopping wood in a forest. A forest is a place where people can go. It's a hefketika place. It doesn't belong to me. So, because otherwise if it belongs to me, you have no right to trespass on in my territory. So it doesn't belong to me. And I'm chopping wood with an axe that the head can fall off. No, it's not unsafe, but Doesn't always fall off, but every so often it will fall off. So if it falls off and kills somebody, I'm chayiv to go to Golus. Why? Because you should have been careful that nobody came in over there. Okay? And the thing over there. Because I'm in a public place. With that to say that we understand such a thing, yeah, I would say, yeah, we understand it. You insure your apartment, right? What are you insuring your apartment for? If somebody comes into my house and he slips, I'm going to I have to put him in the hospital. I have to pay his bills. I have to do this. Why? Why do you have to do that? It's his own fault. If he fell, it's my house. What you doing in my house? You invited him in. You gave him the thing there. Yeah, but he has to take look for what is going on. I don't have to protect him. I mean, he's not blind. So you see his water on the floor. Don't walk into it. Don't slip. You see, I just washed the floor. I just waxed the floor. Whatever it is there. So this is from a judge, God, that if I can prove that it was non-waxed, non-slippy wax, and not what he called, he shouldn't have fallen, attack will be potter from the insurance also. I'm only chayiv where I could, but we understand that if I could have hurt myself and the thing there and I'm invited in, then I should be chayiv. Why are you chayiv? The guy is still able to watch himself. All of us, that since it's now you took upon yourself their chayis. In other words, if I'm one in this place, I'm taking on my chayis, I'm not going to harm anybody by my being at that place. That's basically what you're telling me. Okay, so if I'm out in the place, if I'm doing things, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to hurt anybody. I think it's the same thing there. And some of these things are silly things. And I think this is the pshat in the pasuk in Shoftim that it says Moshe was mavdil, Yavdil Moshe Gimel, the three cities for the Ori Miklot, that Neva Yardin, Mizrach HaShemesh. So the Gemara dashes, what's his Mizrach HaShemesh? His Rach the Shemesh al HaRotzchim. You shine the sun on the Rotzchim. One means that you made an issue of it. Another pshat is that you're looking for Achmanis for Rotzchim, a taina on him. Why are you looking for the only mitzvah you can think of to do is to try and save Rotzchim from death? Why? I mean, they're Rotzchim. So the idea is because Moshe Rabbeinu says, Yadadi all of Kal Yisrael's Rotzchim. Right? We don't understand what danger is. Kids run up and down the steps. They throw things at each other without knowing what they're throwing. They don't even look where they throw it, and so on and so forth. So therefore, really, it's a dangerous thing. People don't think. So maybe they don't think, they can kill. So you can't be mechayiv the misa, the thing if everybody is like that. Right? If you think down. So we have to somehow get them to understand that there's an einish that comes for this. It's not just comes like over there. So I'll give you a moshel that happened in yeshiva where the Bochum, I think, learned a lesson. I don't know, truthfully, it depends, only the Bochum that were there at that time. I don't know about the next day will learn a lesson. That's a different thing. What happened was, usually we try to change the air conditioners that comes Pesach time, you put them in, and Sukkot time usually you take them out. And I think over there, and it usually says spend asmanim, so there's more time for the goyim to do the work. So in the list that I give Shirin had a big air conditioner, and very heavy, and the guy himself was keep putting it off because it's heavy. It was a heavy air conditioner. I don't think he could do it himself. And he probably needed two guys for it. I would say two guys decided to do it on their own, right? And they're taking it out and they drop it, and it falls to 3 floors, and it smashes, it breaks up. Baruch Hashem, it didn't touch anybody. Well, what happened if there would have been somebody underneath? They would have killed them. Right? What were you touching it for? We thought we could do it. I mean, why, no cash why we did it, because we thought we could do it. So now you know, if you would have killed somebody, you'd be chayiv misa. The only reason you're not chayiv misa because it's a shogeg. Therefore, they would give you into they got to go to Golis. But reality, you're chayiv misa. Goy is chayiv misa for that, if he does that. In other words, a drunk driver would be probably chayiv misa. A drunk driver knows he's drunk, and he knows he probably doesn't have the best judgment now with the world. So how's he driving it all together now? All of us, maybe he's so drunk he thinks he's driving straight, he's driving crooked, so maybe he's a meshukin at that time, that I can't see. But you understand that there's a responsibility. You see that you're right to reach that madrege, because when you have children, so you baby-proof your house. You make the most annoying things for yourself. Your wife doesn't get the type of furniture she likes because it's not in the style that she likes. Is pointy edges, and pointy edges can hurt kids, and therefore she doesn't want to buy that. She wants to get a round edge table that you can't hurt, you can't poke your eye out or something like that. And then you got to put those little plastic things in all the plugs where you put your plugs. That's a pain in the neck, especially if you don't have nails. You have to take it out there. What are you going to want to put a knife in there to pull out the plastic plug? And then you'll get electrocuted. I mean, what is it exactly that you're looking for, right? All of us, I do it anyway because my kid, he may get hurt if I leave it that way. So you're willing to even live in a prison, right? You put up fences on the windows. That what is that all of a sudden you're behind bars. That's what you are. You may know all of a sudden you're living in a prison. Why? Because my kid may fall out. So you understand what yichshash, that's how you're supposed to be about everybody. That's the point. You're supposed to think about, I can't harm anybody in the world. And if I can harm, to kill him. There's things to think about. Some say that it is sometimes the possibility to take off the shogeg. Yes, I think you can give him a shloya sometimes. How is that possible? Let's say, for instance, there's a guy sitting on the wall, and I'm practicing knife throwing. And I want to practice, I want to get around his head. I'm going to put the knives within an inch of his head. In other words, to show how good an aimer I am, right? But I may goof, right? So what happens if two Adim tell me, if in case you don't hit where you're aiming for and you hit him instead, you're going to be chayiv misa for this. Maybe you be chayiv misa, it will be teichidei dibur and whatever it is of the action of doing it, whatever it is. I'm saying could be there would be such cases. I don't know, but the idea is I have no intention of killing. I don't want to kill. I'm careless. And the fact that you scream 4, if you're golfing, you scream 4, the other guy screams out 5. He doesn't know what you're talking about. So what does it mean to help me to scream 4? And even if he does know, he doesn't expect your ball that you hit it so curved in the word that's going to hit me in the head and kill me. And same thing, so you got to be very extremely careful and stuff like that. That's what the Torah is telling you. So if it happens the first time, okay, I didn't know. I didn't expect it to happen, I didn't think. But it happened once, and it happens a second time. Now there's no excuse for you. So that's the point. Now, but we don't kill you anyway, that's the point, but then we make you go to Golos. The first time, it's not so important that you go to Golos, as long as you know the law. As long as you know that you were careless, you did the wrong thing, and you have charote, and you're probably crying your head off, and it's fine. But if you did it a second time, that means obviously it's all of a sudden become a davar kal even and I think even in the United States, they had cases where a guy killed 2 or 3 people in drunken driving, not in the one, one after the other. And I think they wanted to put him away for 20 years, 30 years. Well, it all of a sudden become a prison. I think it's not a prison thing. But it is, because you're a Retzeach. Then there's a thing that from my Mizbeach, if a guy's a murderer, you take him from my Mizbeach to kill him. That means there's no sanctuary at the Mizbeach. By saying this pasuk, I would assume that it means to say that there are times that there is a sanctuary. And that's by Mered B'Malchus. And that's why you find in Tanakh that Yoav, when Yoav and Yoyada came to kill him, so he ran into the Beis Hamikdash and he grabbed hold of the Mizbeach. So he told him, to come out. I can't kill you there because he's only a Mered B'Malchus. Mered B'Malchus you can't kill over there holding on to the Mizbeach. So, but for murder, you take him off the Mizbeach and you take him off. Now, what they could have, of course, B'Nai could have called him a whole bunch of soldiers and pried him off the Mizbeach too over there. But you can't. He's holding on to the Mizbeach. I can't touch him. He's in this bunkum, a makom of sanctuary that is that we can't touch him. I had to explain to someone yesterday. It's interesting. A guy asked me a question. He says, we're living in a generation where everybody curses, right? And so therefore, how does the guy, he gets angry at his father, his mother, he can't watch his language. He's nervous. Whatever it is, he hears all his language. I said, that's not called cursing. And I think that's what it means. I'm not sure of the English. I think when he uses the word cussing, C-U-S-S, instead of the word cursing, that's pshat nivul peh. That's what we're talking about. What you're talking about is nivul peh. In other words, that is, you talk, you're upset, you say nivul peh. But cursing means drop dead. Whatever it is that the Rebbeim used to call us, and the thing is that's a curse. That's also, that's chayiv mis if you do it to your parents. Cursing, they call him you whatever it is, nivul peh. So they say that's cursing. It's nivul peh. You about to what do you call it? I don't think you chayiv mis for it because you weren't metal in any way. Just called names, which doesn't mean anything. That I'm not sure. From here, the and have a fight, and one guy hurts the other guy, and he's sick. Im Yakum is halach bachutz, am shantei, is vinika amake, v'rakiv te'itim, v'rapi. He doesn't chayiv misa, but he has to pay all the different things, nezek, boishes, and the ikir is for the money he lost, that he can't go to work, and for getting cured, going to the doctor bills. Now from here we learn that you're allowed to go to a doctor. Without this pasuk, you're not allowed to go to a doctor, because there's only one doctor in the world, the Reuven Shalom. He's the Reuven Feinstein, and if he's giving you an einish because you deserve an einish. So if that's the case, so why are you going to a doctor? You're not supposed to be cured. So therefore you're not allowed to go to the doctor. Since the Torah puts in you have to pay for the doctor bills, it's a chayy that you're allowed to go to the doctor. Otherwise, why do you have to pay for the doctor bills? So therefore you're allowed to go to the doctor. And the tiny could be, which is something to understand the difference between the Yid and the Goy, maybe. I don't know if there's something, there's this, that the Indian is that the Rebbeinu Shem can geyser that you're laid up for 2 weeks. I don't want you laid up for more than 2 weeks. You got to get well. I want you to lose money, so I want you to go to a doctor. So I remember Rabbi Bluth, Allah Shalom, asked the Kashi, does this apply also to a lawyer and to an accountant? In other words, the Gemara says that what do you call it? That also that you don't pay, that you didn't pay is worth nothing. That's the question of Gemara. He asks if that applies to, that's what he is, it applies to an accountant or to a lawyer, or a lawyer. So in other words, what is the assumption? The assumption is in the Gemara, why is he worth nothing? Because he's not going to put his keches into it. In other words, he's not getting paid for it, so he's not going to think about it too much. So that's the case you should apply to a lawyer and to accountant too, because if you're not getting paid, so why should he put his keches into it, right? But on the other hand, what happens if the doctor happens to be your son? A doctor happens to be a Talmud, or your brother? I mean, would you have a shayla that he doesn't want to cure you, that he's not careful? He thinks he cares about the money. He doesn't care about the money. You're the person that he's caring about. That's the ikil. So, l'chayra, so then why is it worth nothing? He says the ikil is written in the halachas of mazik. What's the Torah? Why is the Torah mechayiv me for paying deductibles? Because I want to make you pay the most you can pay. So therefore you pay for that he doesn't work, shifta yitain, rapi, whatever it cost him to cure himself, everything you got to pay for. Okay, so I want to punish you, right? So Pshat is, I didn't pay the money myself, so he didn't punish me yet. Wasn't punished. And this you can see sometimes by even Amol and Stokke, or even with your kids, where let's say you have a son in Kail. So obviously I don't want him to have any any unnecessary expenses. So he got a flat, right? So I go and I'll buy him a new tire, right? It cost him $100, $200, whatever tire costs now, right? So I'm trying to save him a couple of $100, so I give him the $200. A day later he gets another flat, right? Then go buy him another tire. Okay. It happens again. I would tell you at that time, tell him, look, Ya'akov, I think you better pay for it yourself, because I think God's out to get you, not me. And therefore he keeps giving you the time until you pay for it. You're going to keep getting a flat tire, so you better pay for it yourself. You see that somehow it's not bashert that he should pay for it. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. Then you have the chiyuvim of your property. And again, this is something that the world had to learn. It's not something like that. It's a law. If your dog bites somebody, you're responsible. Okay. What you do is, when the little kid grows up, and all of a sudden there's no one taking care of the dog anymore, so you just let it go hefker, right? So, but if it hurts somebody, you're still the owner. So the then is, so they have insurance on it. And that's the thing. So that's what a lot of people do. They got insurance, but because they heard, I think the upper limit is you're supposed to. You brought it into the world. In other words, the fact that the dog is here. Now the shayla, you see this in David B'chol Yom. You have all these adopting agencies or whatever it is, they give away dogs and give away pets and stuff like that. That means that people leave these animals hefker. And once you get tired of them, you just throw them out. But they're wild animals. They're animals that are going to be wild. You're responsible for them. So that's the Torah trying to mechayiv you. For even your normal animals, sure, all these things you're chayiv for, so on that. And that's a thing that you're chayiv for. It's not what do you call it? And it's to teach you responsibility. Avos nezikin, whatever's to tell you, you're chayiv for. your animals that have their own things. You're chayiv for eish, which is you didn't even do anything except you made the fire that the wind will now drive. In other words, or I don't have to go with a fire. If I left something on the window, on a windowsill, and a good wind or a kid can knock it out the window and hurt somebody with it, I'm chayiv for that too. That's still eishay. It's also eishay. Now, the idea is that my object, which is driven by a natural thing, that's motzui, that I'm chayiv for. And the thing is, so you have that you're chayiv for. So these are things that the world, doesn't want the responsibility for. I didn't do it. What do you want from me? Okay. Then there's some that automatically derive it, and then you chayiv for your kids for sure, and that's you're part of for. Maybe kedai to be chayiv you for it. I mean, and by the goyim you take a chayiv for a kid. But like this, you take a potter. I mean, the kids are masik. Somehow I don't have to do anything about it. Obviously, if a neighborhood wants to make such a law, probably they would be able to make it as the tikkun of the thing. Like if you want everybody to watch their kids, they shouldn't become masik. And so they say the father's going to have to pay for what the kids was masik. So then there's a point to that. But that's a knas like. It's not a din in the responsibility. I'm not responsible for my kid. He's an independent individual. Now this goes into the whole explaining of the creation of who made the God made the person. So it's not you didn't make the person. You can't guarantee that. He said for now. Yeah. You have it in it says like the Yesh, the pasuk is written in a funny way. He say Yesh, fire went out, umotza kaitzim, and it found thorns, because thorns burn easily. V'nechal godish, but the field was already burnt. Like, he says, and it eats the field. That's the way it should be. Not it was eaten already, right? So the Torah tells the Gemara Darshans from here that when a Torah comes to the world, the Rabbeinu Shalom, even though he wants to kill the Kaitzim, which are the Rishoyim in the world, but the time is the Godish, which is the Tzaddikim of the world, are already dead. So this is the kin of Kodim Haro Nesaf HaTzadik. This is the Yisod, what it means. That before the Benishim brings bid to the whole world, he kills the Tzaddik. Now, what does that mean? How do I kill the Tzaddik? So we have to understand what's called bid to the person himself. So the Gemara in Shabbos, that says over there, that I think was who was it? Yomis, I think. It says over there that the Benishim said that she put a Tov Chaim on the heads of the Tzaddikim. So when Nebuchadnezzar comes, they're not going to kill the Tzaddikim. So the Midas Adin came to the Benishim and said to him, they didn't do anything to stop the other guys from going off the derech. So why are you saving them? So the Benishim says, I can say Yedis, that even if they would have tried, it wouldn't have helped. So he says, so the Midas hadn't been back, B'fanecha golu, B'fanei golu. You knew, but they didn't know. So then they didn't even try. So you see from here, one thing, that is an inyan of a tzaddik has to try. We'll see what I mean by this in a minute. And the Beishim says, okay, put a tough mavis on the head. and they should die first. That's the Kedem Atzaron. So they learn, some Meforshim learn, they want to even learn Pshat in the Gemara that way. It just doesn't seem right to me, is because that this is the one place the Rabbeinu Shalom went from good to bad. Normally the din is that that the Rabbeinu Shalom can, if he said bad, the Navi says bad, and it turns out that the Rabbeinu Shalom didn't bring to bad, he's not a Navi Sheker, because he could have done tshuva. But if he said good, even if they, he's a Navi Sheker. If that's the case, and this is the case not, because they were killing the Navi over there. It says who's going to give us Shrei? Who's going to give this thing to the Echav Anavim? So the kash is going to be over there. If you're going to tell me this is the one place that it happened, who says it can't happen a second time? For the thing there, the Beisham had the thing there. So obviously, what the tiny that's not Pshatnik. It was telling you this is a tevin to the Rasha. I mean to the tzaddik. What do I mean by that? Yeshio was the thing that he went to Chuldan Aviyah, and he was talking to him about the Chulban. So what did Chuldan Aviyah tell him? She told him that the Chulban is not going to come in your lifetime, it's going to come in your children's lifetime, because you're a tzaddik. It's not going to come in your time. How did he die? He dies at 39. How? With 300 arrows in him. That means he died 300 deaths, if you want to put it that way, right? Because he wasn't dead. The first one killed him, the other 299 don't make a difference. Obviously, because they carried him out with the 300 arrows in him, and he said, Tzadik hu Hashem kipiu marisi. So obviously he was still alive when it happened. So he died 300 deaths, and yet it was more preferable than having the Churban in my lifetime. Because then somehow there's a Yush Hadas. I think, thinking about it, I mean, when Europe was happening, when the Shaya, whatever they call it, the people being gassed, all they saw was the destruction of the Alta Haim, as you call it, right? They saw everything, they didn't see anything over here. Here's nothing, there was nothing here. So they saw the complete destruction of what they worked for their whole lives. That's a big, terrible thing, that besides the Misa that's killing you. Like this, a lot of times if you see the Nitzochen that you brought, so then you don't mind so much that you're dying. Like, look what I saved, and stuff like that. But if you see the destruction, that's the thing. So that is probably more, it's preferable to die with 300 deaths than it is to what do you call it, to see the Churban Beis Hamikdash. So that's Pshat Koitnat Rod Nesvat Tzadik. So therefore, you don't want, if you see the destruction of the Churban, you'll see the Churban. That's be the worst thing in the world. So therefore, I kill them first. They shouldn't see the Churban. So it's a teva for them. Why didn't you save them? Do you think saving them is a good tzach? Or you think they think about it? When Noach got off the boat, the ark, right, the teva, right, he had to start building a whole world all over again. There's 8 people, and there's a destruction of the whole world. There's nothing there, nothing planted, nothing there. It's all destroyed. There's no houses, there's no nothing. Where are you going to live, meanwhile? Where are you going to do anything? We got to start from zero. There's the kasha where I drank the wine. I mean, it's not talking kasha on that, right? So the shaila is it's such a feeling of yush that's a terrible feeling. So the Rebbeinu Shalom is then that some people got to suffer. I got to save people. I got to save. What do you mean? I got to save people? That means they lived through the 4 years or 5 years in the concentration camp and stuff like that, and all the hunger and the pain and the things. Why? Because I need him after the war. I need this guy because he's going to build the Torah again. He's going to do this again or this that. So therefore, the Rebbeinu Shalom, you're not doing him a favor, but keeping him alive. And then I see the destruction of everything I believe in. As far as I'm saying, I'm seeing it in my life. I have the Yush there. It's good, Baruch Hashem. When I'll see the Yeshua, I'll have a Chiyus again. But until then, I'm gonna die many times over, emotionally or whatever it is there. I need you. So therefore, those guys I keep. But tzaddik I don't need. He's not going to do anything for me. So I kill him first. And that's what I think is pshat in the post, in the Gemara. Now pshat is they didn't change to give and make bad for good. This is the touch of good. This is really good. The other way is bad. Keeping him alive is bad. Seeing the destruction is living after the destruction. And you find the Gemara with Rabbi Yeshua arguing with the door of the Churban over there. They wanted to fast and they wanted to this and stop eating meat and start eating this and then he gives them guns of turtles because you should starve to and obviously that was the yish that existed and then. So the idea is that we have to get a purpose to live. That there's a time yet to live. It's not just that it's gone. It's all over. It's not all over. We're still around. So that's I think the just the Seforim of Sheol, you can see the time's getting there. I want to turn to the Seforim of Sheol called Anoy of Shaloi, and that's for Harav Reuven Feinstein. What is he trying to tell me in that? I think what he's trying to tell me, what's the difference called Anoy of Shaloi? So I gave you the Anoy, so why makes you a chayiv in this? A Sheol is an owner. What we did, the guy gave you the stuff to enjoy completely. You didn't have to pay for it, right? That's the same socha would be that, right? A bailim is that. So for those things, we understand there's a cost if you want to rent something. I'm renting it to you. Get there. Why did I undertake? Why am I chayiv Einstein for? Because even the owner who owns it is going to lose by Einstein, right? Because why? That's what an onus is. Something happened to the thing, it's died. What are you going to do? It died. So that's going to happen. Even the owner is going to lose there. So you, by a shoyel, I'm giving you ownership, and it doesn't cost you anything. But the loss that I'm giving you, no matter what, that you take, because that you're an owner. So therefore you get the loss. What about something like that, where we're supposed to last for that thing? So and that's not an einish, and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Some potter. But if it was an einish, that the thing that's called I'm an owner. So I gave me the achayis of an owner. It's not just that it's you give him a punishment for that or something because he got destroyed. That's what I think is pshat. This may be also important. Okay, it says over here. You have to go and help him, your enemy. So the Gemara Taisus asks the kasha, where do you have an enemy? The Gemara says you can't. It's always sinas chinam. The only person you can hate is somebody that you saw ma'atzah rayis b'tzineh. The fact that the guy stole everything from you, you have no right to hate him. It says his name is sinas chinam. You understand the Rebbeinu Shalom is the one that gave it to you and caused it to you, not this guy. This guy has no power at all. The fact that he stole from you is the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted you to lose everything you had. That's the Rebbeinu Shalom. So what do you blame him? He's only a shliach. So why do you hate him for? Or I saw him doing avera, I don't have the right to say it. So it says, where do you have seinacha? It says always seinamokim. He says even if it starts with the Shem Shemayim, that I hate the guy. But the guy hates me back, because when you hate someone hates you back, because it's the mirrors and the water, and stuff like that. So now you hate him a little bit more back again, and he hates you a little bit more back then. So even though you started off as because of Shani Shemayim, you'll end up when as you're being Seinach, it becomes your enemy. And that's the point that he's trying to tell you. Now, it's not supposed to become your enemy, but it can only be because it started off as Shani Shemayim. If it started off as your enemy, then it's not that's in a schimah. Not supposed to be involved in. And we have our Guten Shabbos, our Guten Chodesh. Everything should be good. The Geulah should be coming soon, hopefully. And whatever it is, Guten Shabbos.